Andrew, you mentioned one Truth Social post from the president. I want to get your reaction to another. A short time ago, he wrote this: "We're going to be taking away Harvard's tax-exempt status. It's what they deserve." So tell the viewers here what that really means. How it's certainly a violation of significant norms, but what is it going to be the real-world implications for that, for Harvard and any other institution that Trump may eventually target?
Look, first, I think it's worth noting this will go to court if, in fact, it were to happen, and I think would be unlikely for the tax-exempt status to be removed. The implication of such a thing, if it were to take place, would mean that donations to Harvard would not be tax deductible, and that the money that the institution makes through its endowment in terms of investing and the like would also not be would be taxed. So that's the implication for the university, which would therefore mean, and by the way, of course, grants have been taken away from Harvard as well, would mean less money for students, less money for research, less money all around. That's what it would mean. The question now is this something that he's targeting at Harvard specifically, in which case, by the way, because it would be so targeted, a court likely actually wouldn't uphold it, or is he going to do this to all universities around the country? I think that would actually be very, very challenging politically, by the way, given the sports programs at so many universities. Could you imagine, for example, the president removing the tax status of Notre Dame? I don't know. I think that people would look at that and say that they don't want that. So, you know, clearly this president thinks that he is going to somehow change the culture of Harvard University and some of these other Ivy League schools. He's arguing it's about anti-Semitism, but he's also suggesting it's about ideology. And, of course, on the other side, there's a question about free speech and whether private universities should be able to have the kind of free speech that they want. This is not to suggest that things can't and shouldn't be improved at these universities, and clearly there have been problems. But the idea that the administration is going to target Harvard like this, and I just say one last thing. When you think about Harvard is one of the great institutions in America. You know, he's talked about trying to protect and embolden great institutions in America, and it is one. And have there been problems at that university? 100%. But when you think about all of the amazing talent and things that have been generated out of that school, it just seems, you know, it's very difficult to understand how this could help that.
Yeah, some real problems, but anti-Semitism also being used as a cover for a lot of what this administration is trying to do. Trump took a number of swipes last night at Harvard while he delivered a commencement address at the University of Alabama. CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin, thank you so much. Peter Baker, the other big headline.